Well, we got the old screw out, and we had to make the decision whether we're going to try to rebuild this one, make our own, or buy a new one. Well, looking a little closer to the screw, we really gave up on it fairly quickly, just because there wasn't a whole lot left of it to work with. So then the question became whether or not we're going to try to make our own. So we did some checking to see what a new screw would cost, and after checking into the prices on a new screw, figured we'd just buy an aftermarket brand. So before we could put the new screw in, we had to put a patch on the side of the TMR where it had rusted out and the plastic liner had also gave way. So we just took a piece of sheet metal, kind of trimmed the bottom of it to fit a little bit, put bolts in from the back side, and just kind of tightened everything together just to keep anything from spilling out through the sides. This is just kind of a temporary fix just to get us by and get the TMR up and running, just to kind of see how it works before we invest a lot of additional time and money and effort into fixing the sides. That'll come later, after we had a little bit more time to use this thing. The chain hoist didn't quite lift high enough to get the screw over the side of the TMR, so we had to use the tractor to get it up over the top and then lower it in the rest of the way with the chain hoist. So we found a place online that manufactures screws for TMRs. The factory screw is a little bit different, as it came up in a larger tube area here, and then it necked down to that smaller diameter at the top half of the corkscrew. Kind of glad we ended up going with the aftermarket screw. Even if we'd have made something, it probably wouldn't have been as heavy duty as this one here. The screw here is 5/8 of an inch thick, way heavier than anything I would have put together. The flighting is barely 3/16 of an inch thick, and that's where, in a spot where it's not completely wore out. Something that I wasn't anticipating having to do was to weld that center ring in there. Had to put the screw inside the TMR with the ring on top of the mounting plate here, lower everything down on top of it, and then tack weld that center ring in place in the center through the top. That kind of established the height that the screw was going to ride at. Once we had everything back out, we had to finish welding that all the way back around inside there so that the height of the screw would be at the right ride height inside the TMR. Lowering the screw back in for the second time, position it over top of the center spindle and line up the bolt holes. Getting everything all dialed in just right here and snugged up, ensuring that we have clearance around the side. It was a little tricky to get all the bolt holes to line up. It would have been one heck of a challenge without the chain hoist. We did run into a little bit of a problem that that piece of tin that we put on bulged out a little bit, so we had to kind of beat it back a little bit, just in right on the edge of it, or on the corner of it. So once we had the clearance issues all resolved, it was just a matter of bolting on the new knives and bolting on the cover on the top, and it was up and ready to go. I'll add a link to the end of the video so you can see this thing up and running. Also, click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos.